Now, there's a little story I have to tell here that makes sense of this. There was a boy, young boy, very rambunctious, ADHD, but very hypersensitive, great radar, great intuition, but because he got bored in class, he was very impulsive, and he would ask a lot of questions, and he would interrupt a lot, but he was a good kid, but the teacher couldn't stick with her lesson plans. So she said, "Johnny, come here. I got a project for you." And she had ripped up a map of the world and said, "Johnny, go put this map together for me," in the hopes that he would take the whole class to put the map together. So Johnny's intuition said, "She's just trying to get me to do something so I can't be in class, but I'm going to figure out something." So he took the pieces, she put them in the side of the room, and he turned over a couple of pieces, and there was as he put the pieces together, there was a picture of a face. And he said, "Oh, this is easy. This is a human being. I'll just put the human being together." He put it together, he turned it over, and the map was together also. So 15 minutes later, he went in and he showed her, he said, "How did you do that?" And he just smiled. Unique brain wiring. ADHD doesn't mean you're broken, it just means I do things in my own creative way. And that's the real message that I want to get here today, that in order to have social connections, you have to embrace your unique brain wiring. You have to embrace the way you do things. You might not do it the same way everyone else does, but there's a way you do it, and it's your natural recurring patterns of success. We're going to talk about talents and strengths today, but these are just some of the things you have to do for social connection. Social connection is the highest level of executive function because you have to do so many things. You have to pause, you have to pay attention, you have to identify what's going on, you have to see the emotions, you have to understand the messages, you have to do so many things, and a lot of people take it for granted that a kid or an adult with ADHD that hasn't learned the discipline of learning those signals, that may be thrown into a situation they've never been before, don't have those skills. Can they learn them? 100 zillion% yes. They can learn them, and I don't believe it, I know it because I've seen it. But it takes discipline. George talked about that today, that discipline of being able to identify the situations first. If there's anything that I want to talk about here, it's identify the situations that get in your way of having a positive self-image. Now, we know that this is a real problem, positive self-image. Being able to observe yourself. Ari, if you ever want to listen to a great talk, Ari does a talk on metacognition. Embracing your inner observer, being able to watch your own movie as it's going on and being able to say, "Wow, that movie really sucks. I really need to change that movie," rather than getting emotionally attached to it. You got to learn to detach from it and keep distance. Empathy, respect, communication skills, these are all things that are very important, and the ability to self-regulate. How do we do that? And the biggest thing is knowing your ADHD. Education is critical because ADHD shows up differently for everyone. It's very situational. We're going to talk about research, specific things on how ADHD shows up and what the causes are, so that you can, instead of paying attention to what you can't do, wouldn't it be great if you could pay attention to what you can do? But our brains don't work that way. We'd rather pay attention to problems, and we'd rather pay attention to negativity because that's the way our brain's wired. We're going to talk about that.